Alright guys, bit of an update. I'm doing my steps at the minute, so I'm actually on the treadmill. Let me just find out how much I've done already. I've already done over 200 calories and get the sweat on, as you can probably see. I've already done nearly 40 minutes as well, so let's rack that up and then we'll have a chat. Okay, first off I want to talk about is the Philippines today. I was watching a video on Legion of Men. I was going to say League of Gentlemen there, it's a completely different thing. But it's all about a guy that's been in the Philippines a couple of times. He's been out to the provinces, met his girlfriend's family. He's seen this simple part of life. I've got to admit, it's one of the reasons I love the Philippines, is there is a connection with the family unit. Now it doesn't mean there's not complications going on in there, it's just that you're not aware of them yet. So just bear that in mind, not everything is always fantastic. But I went through, the fact that the way the kids are, the kids are busy, are all happy, playing with flip-flops and messing around. They've still got that connection with just being busy without having an Xbox, a PlayStation, gaming computers, whatever they need. They're just happy with just being where they are, just doing stuff with your mates. And I recognise this even with my wife's brother Marlon and his friends. They're sort of friends for life. My wife's the same, she has different groups, whether it's from her university groups, her high school days, the neighbourhood. There are all these different groups of people. I think this is the problem we've got in many parts of the West, is that's been splintered. Mine's worse than most people simply because I come from an ex-armed forces family, so I move country every 3 years. So I lost my friends every 3 years and have to start again. Does make you a lot more independent, but at the same time, I don't have that connection where people have had somebody that they were neighbours when they were 2 or 3 until they went to each other's wedding and all that stuff. Don't have any of that stuff going on. But it's important to recognise the value of community, the value of family, the value of the connections that you can have with people, because it has been eroded. And one of the reasons I'm bringing this up today is we'll go on about the Philippine stuff, then we'll move on to why it's important to try and reintroduce some of this stuff where you can. So are you going to find the perfect life partner, let's just call it a life partner, because let's face it, you don't have to get married, in the Philippines? In reality, I'll think about it, and the divorces I'm aware of now from the people I've known for nearly 20 years, 90% of them are the guys, it's not the women. And the 10% that are out the women, I could see problems in the women already. Even when they first meet, and if you've been in the Philippines a while, you'll see a lot of the guys can see this stuff straight away, because a lot of it is the same as you will see, well, slightly different. You're strong, independent women that you avoid like the plague. In the Philippines, you'll see the, Prada handbag. What car did your husband drive? All that sort of stuff. Those things stay away from them. That's all about show. And the competition is not you and her, it's her v the other women. So bear that in mind. If you meet, like the guy in the video did, a nice woman that's from the provinces, she may not have a strong education, she may be strong in the family unit, but bear in mind, if you take the person out of that unit, you don't know what they're going to be like as an individual. As a friend said to me, he was on the flight, I think it was going to Hong Kong. And there was a friend of his wife on the same flight. His wife wasn't on the flight. So he was going back somewhere. I think he was going back to the Middle East. But her best friend offered sexual liaisons in Hong Kong to him, saying, "Oh, what stays in the Philippines what happens in Hong Kong stays in Hong Kong." And that was his wife's best friend. Now, in the Philippines, the spectrum of people is very similar to you get everywhere else. So do not accept everyone's God-loving, God-fearing and everything else, and nothing's going to be a problem. The same problems exist. A bit like the family unit. You may see everyone sitting around, chilling out together on a Sunday lunch, or, you know, people come around for a fiesta, but they still have problems. It's just that you are an outsider still. So you don't recognise the problems that go on between different people within the family units, etc. Because these are occasions, because they can put things to one side. But if you read something like the Sun Star newspaper, you'll see a lot of things that go on, which you'll find. Some of the stories in there are sort of mind-blowing how they actually happen, but all sorts of things where people are arguing over land. You know, they may have just inherited a piece of land. One of our old nannies had that, with two uncles inherited land off her grandfather. One shot the other and killed him, and then the other one went to jail. So that was a good investment. There are also the things of manipulations that go on. I mentioned the handbag piece. Well, there is other stuff that goes on. You may have your wife or partners, lifelong partner, let's just call them lifelong partner, then it doesn't matter if you're a guy looking for a guy, a woman looking for a woman, or whatever. The reality is, there's things like debt of gratitude, relatives that think they can keep someone on, well, get an income off them every month for the rest of their lives, because, oh, I paid for you to go to school. Yeah, but that was 30 years ago. They were expecting that debt of gratitude forever. You get relatives that see that there's a lost income because you've took a daughter out of their household. As such, we survived on that money that she brought in from her job, and we didn't give her any of her own pay. You selfish person. Or, well, just on expanding on that, we had it with a nanny that she was getting thrown out somewhere else because she'd been caught doing something, and we gave her a chance. We caught her stealing as well a few months in. Then we had a proper conversation where A, it was to understand why she was stealing. B, it was to try and get her to change her way. And when we looked at it, it was actually down to her mother. Every time she got paid, her mother would come down from the mountains and take all her pay and leave her with nothing. And then I'm sure, although she wouldn't admit it, I'm sure she was being encouraged to steal what she could. The proper conversation we had, her mother wasn't allowed anywhere near the house. I'll set the dogs on her if she comes near the house. But also, the conversation with the nanny was, you're going to end up in jail if you are on a path to jail. You carry on this way, that's where you're going. Do you want to better yourself, or is that where you want to be? And she changed. Well, I also, well, we did, me and my wife, we got her to open a bank account so she had control of her own funds. So although she was giving her money to her mother still, we says, look, that, you know, what you give your mother is that, anything that's over that is yours. I says, it's a lifelong lesson I had, well, something I learned a long time, that's a bit of a tip. It's never really clear how much money you actually earn until you really trust somebody. So when you get a partner that burns through money like no tomorrow, if you say you earn half of what compared to what you really do, she's always assuming that you're broke because you just paid her bills, and yet you still got money in the bank, still pay your bills, and still got a bit left over. Well, why would you be giving everything up like that anyway? I'll get some of it. If you're working, living together, half the bills are half and whatever, that's the sort of scenario you can end up in sometimes. In this instance, the nanny told her mother what she was earning, but in fact she earned more, so the bit that was more went into her own bank account so she could do what she wanted. We pushed her into doing her education so that she could move on in life. I don't think she finished high school. But eventually, this is one of the things that I find bizarre in the Philippines, is how you can try and help people so far and then they do something completely unexpected. So she ran off with a woman from the bakery. I'm not sure where she is now. But nice enough girl, but her problems weren't created by her. It was created by her mother. And that's the point. You've got to be aware these manipulations can happen. The key to a lot of this is having the openness with your partner to say, look, if somebody's trying to coerce you or trying to do something, let's have an adult conversation. Make me aware of it at least. Because you can fix what you can see. If you can't see it, you can't fix it. And you don't want some aunt, uncle, parents or whatever destroying your relationship simply because your partner didn't tell you that she's siphoning off money every month or whatever to keep her family going or whatever. When I say keep them going, that's a bit unfair, because one of the key things, I mean, I've said this to Jay and others, is these people were surviving before you got here. Not every problem in the world is yours to fix. If you gift something, it's a gift. And I like doing that. I like helping people. I don't want any reward or anything from it, but if I choose to do it, it's my decision. When people expect it, I don't give them nothing, because the gratitude's gone. It's an expectation at that point. And in the Philippines, that's often seen as a weakness. Why do you steal from the restaurant that you work in? It's okay. Boss is a foreigner, he's an idiot. Didn't catch me, doesn't search us when we come in. It's his fault. That mentality does exist. It's not my fault that you made me steal from you because you treated me well. Not with all Filipinos, by the way. It's just the fact is, you've got to be very protective of yourself and your family unit, because you will get exploited if you leave space for it. I've been burned a few times, and I've got to say, even though I get burned, I'm a bit frustrated with the people that do it, but it doesn't stop me trying to help other people, because my view on that is quite simply, I want to help others. If the odd person would rather steal £1 than take £100 off me over a period of time, so be it. And that's not in literal terms, that's just to say, you know, rather grab what's available now rather than progress with any help I would give them over a period of time. It's hot now. So that's that piece. So would I recommend going to the Philippines to meet somebody over where you are? Firstly, I don't hate Western women. That's a key element to this. I'm tired of the bitterness and stuff that happens. Doesn't mean I hate them, because I find the average guy wants peace and quiet. they don't want the aggravation. So for me, I would never date a Western woman anymore. That's the end of. That's freedom of choice. I'm happily married anyway. I mean, nearly 20 years in with April, so I'm happy. But I would never go down the same path twice. And I find this entitlement piece and everything else has just made it so hard that I do wonder why people even bother these days. But when you look at women in the Philippines, you look at women from Ukraine, Russia and elsewhere, most of them just want a good guy in their lives. I will say, I do find Russians a little bit different because they do seem to be very vain from a lot of the ones I've met. But if they're happy, not my problem. And if they're good wives, great. But I also say that a lot of these women are looking for strong males as well. They're not after a guy that won't stand on his own 2 feet. They want somebody they can back and support. They're in the trenches with you. And I think that's one of the big divides that we have with a lot of people in the West. A lot of the women in the West want you to elevate them. It's what can you give me? Where you find with a lot of other women, you're a unit, you function as one. And if you're in a unit and you can sell that message and they're on the same page, you're probably on to a winner. So yeah, I don't hate Western women. I do find a lot of them are very peculiar these days. I do find, I think a lot of women think that guys approach them when they don't. Yeah, I've got to admit, I've no interest in Western women. So if I went to speak to a woman, it's not because I found her attractive or anything else. I'll probably be asking for, I don't know, a coffee, where something is, or just being generally polite. Bizarrely, this is the sort of stuff the same women will say, oh look, I was just being nice, the guy's trying to date me or whatever. I can pretty much guarantee that's not real. It's the same as these ones you see in the gym where they're sitting there with their webcams and stuff on. The only reason I look at women in the gym is the same reason I look at the guys. It's just stood in front of me. When I'm on the treadmill, this is my view. I don't wander around like this because I'll trip over. So this is why I find some of this stuff just stupid. And I do think it doesn't do the world any favours. It's this whole I'm worth more than anybody else stuff, just disgusting. Which gets back to why I like a lot of the stuff in the Philippines, because people are a lot more humble, a lot more easygoing, easy to interact with, happy to talk about anything. They're not sitting there going, oh yeah, he talked to me so he must be attracted to me. Oh yeah, did you see he was looking at me? All this crap. That's little wheels turning. And I'll say this from a guy's perspective as well. Don't worry about what people think of you. See, I know I'm overweight here. Hence, I'm on the treadmill. But I'm not doing this for my wife. I'm not doing this for anybody but myself. Why? Because I want to get fitter again. April's quite happy for me to be like this. She's, you know, it doesn't bother her in the slightest. I mean, you'll find a lot of Asian women will talk about, well, even in Spain, they'll say gordo, which is fat. So they call their, like, husband or whatever, fatty. And it's not in a negative way. In the Philippines, they do the same. Tumbok. Tumbok is fat. And you'll get people go, oh, you're getting fat. And they don't mean it in a negative way. Literally, it's just literal. Again, you're putting on weight, isn't it? But they're not being snide or trying to create an issue. I think that's one of the things that we need to step back from, because I do, I blame women a lot for this stuff, for the feminism. I do think this is a lot of it tied with that. Men being more involved with the difficult stuff in life, where women have been historically dealing with the household and the built differently, emotional. Women are emotional, guys get up to a crap job, come home, maybe go to the football on the weekend, and have had the life sucked out of them for over a 25-year period and got that resilience. That's the resilience that guys need to get back to. You don't need to be in touch with your feelings. I don't agree with that. I think that's what makes weaker guys myself. And all this psychology change has happened since the 60s. If you look, I'm a Gen X. My parents never told me they loved me. There was no safe spaces. There was no sort of need or desire to be hugged and all that sort of stuff. The reality is, we're more feral. We're independent. We get phrases like, if you fall off that wall and break your leg, don't come crying to me. Or, well, don't come running crying to me. That's the sort of stuff I was brought up on. It's like, be more resilient. I think a lot of this stuff we got today that our kids are facing, the Gen Z kids and millennials, is because it'll be focused that people like myself didn't have that sort of love and hugging life in there with their parents, which is why these kids are becoming weaker. My answer to that is, it's only if you let it go that way. If you've got males, get them into karate, get them into kickboxing, get them into stuff that creates an environment that has masculinity in it. For me, I don't believe in toxic masculinity. There only is masculinity. And if you're a 15-year-old upwards, and you want some focus, you want some direction, you want some health, get yourself into martial arts. It will get you in a better space than just the gym. Because the gym is very solitary. If you go to martial arts, there's discipline, there's focus, there's direction, there's stages to move up, and it's collective. Because being part of the groups are an important bit. And as I said, that's one of the things I encourage, is being more and more part of a group if you can. Different groups. Because let's face it, the space that most people are comfortable is in with people that are like-minded. And that's quite a difficult ask in today's environment. Most of the people I work with are corporate. As such, it's very difficult for most of them to have an honest face. Not because they're being vindictive or whatever, it's because they don't trust anybody around them. So they're all false face. Which means when you're in that room, you don't want to be the honest guy either. So, yeah. Keep yourself busy, keep yourself active, keep yourself focused, and find bits that are missing. Don't assume someone else needs to do this for me. No, you need to do it. I'm getting bloody hot on here. Next bit would be about the travelling piece. You don't need to all go to the Philippines as well. A lot of the problems that people face is they're not travelling far enough or often enough. If you're in Europe, look at Ryanair and other hot flights disappear for weekends, disappear to Croatia. All over. There's cheap flights to get all over the place. Do them for the weekends, do them for the bank holidays. And if you're skint, book off midweek and do the same thing, it's just cheaper. You're in your life, this is it. This is the only life you've got, this is the only future you've got. It's that clock is going, well, let's do a candle, it's easier, clock's doing it. Your candle's whittling down. I mean, I'm 50. I'm still very focused on this stuff. I still keep driving myself. I don't look for the sympathy card. Even when I've got problems in other places, I assess on it in a very simple way. Do I jump ship, do something about it, or do I just change the focus and keep things as they are? Whichever suits me best. We're all individuals. We need to make these things happen for ourselves. No one's going to do it for us. See, my big focus at the moment is I'm looking at software development. I'm looking at getting a farm here in Spain. I've just asked for information on the Honda Rebel motorcycle, so I'm going to be buying a 500cc motorbike. That's focus, that's where you want to be, that's what you want. A lot of people are not focusing on trying to achieve stuff. This is why people go, what's the point? I'll still be here in 10 years time, blah blah blah. All that is excuses. You've just got to keep motoring, keep doing whatever you need to do to make it happen. Outline stuff. Get yourself a visual board, get yourself a whiteboard. Whatever you do, do something. Certainly don't whinge at someone else's problem. It's your problem. The economy's knackered in the UK, the government's knackered, but do you know what? That's my response. I can't fix either. I just focus on how do I keep my taxes down and bring my income up. The politics will chop and change every time there's an election. So do you really need to get embedded in stuff that there's no positive output on it? Why don't they change the government? Yeah, but then 5 years later change it back. Let's just focus on what we can deal with, which is more on a personal basis. The bigger picture you can do on your voting paper, but do not waste your time and invest your time on it. Invest in yourself. I mean, if we want to talk about politics, this whole thing with Farage and Trump, I think it's just highlighted how bad the media and political establishments are. Is it Plato that says democracy leads to demonocracy? 100%. Let's see if we actually get some changes. I mean, France has just gone through an initial phase. And look at the left rioting in Paris. Sorry guys, it's the vote. Whether you like it or not is irrelevant. But guys, keep moving, keep trotting, and it's like this. One of these treadmills that I'm sweating my nuts off on, they're not expensive. I've been on this video now for however long, because I can't see any of my lasses on, but I've already done about 70 minutes on this without even trying today. I've got a TV you may not see in the office, or you might do, I'm only filming that way. But I'll sit and watch YouTube, well, I'll walk and watch YouTube videos rather than sit down. This treadmill doesn't have a frame round it, it's just flat. Fits under my desk. Easy to use. I'll do this 2 hours a day. This is gone. Also today I got my yoga mat so I can start doing my stomach stuff as well now. because my arms are starting to develop. But I need to get rid of some of this fuel tank. But yeah, keep going, guys. That's the key to everything. Don't stop. Don't stop me. Alright, I'm finishing. Catch you later, guys. Have a great week.